federal government is warning a biological attack is possible.
Did cyber terrorists just find our weak spot?
It's a perfect storm out there. Nuclear materials in countries around the world, the knowledge of how to make a crude nuclear weapon, terrorist groups that are seeking a nuclear weapon.
Global warming may get us in 20 years, but nuclear war can get us in 20 minutes.
This really is the greatest security challenge facing us today.
The Nuclear Threat Initiative has been one of the leaders in focusing on the risks that arise from nuclear arsenals that states have and nuclear weapons usable material that states make, because you could have not just a 9/11, but a nuclear 9/11.
We have always seen our role as a catalyst for energizing states to recognize the dangers, to see a path to address those dangers, and to come together and share in the responsibility for the response.
We knew we had to get some people who really were passionate about it, who understood the risk, and we've been very fortunate to have that.
If you look at the board of NTI, it includes important and influential individuals in other countries, and they also have represented the views of NTI in Russia or in China or in India. So in that sense, it's had an impact more broadly.
What I like about the way NTI operates, they want to hear all the views and they try to bring them together in initiatives that unite us all.
The Nuclear Threat Initiative's Nuclear Materials Security Index is a first-of-its-kind public assessment of security conditions around the world. And by doing this assessment, we've created a framework that helps guide states on steps that states need to take both individually and collectively, internationally, to strengthen global materials security.
At the heart of the global dialogue, there is a realization that this is a global interest and not a national interest. So bringing people together like this with a global focus releases them from the norm, which is that people come and tell you what their country thinks. So having people talk about this from a global perspective allows them to think beyond their own borders.
The NGO community, the work that's done, for example, by an organization like the Nuclear Threat Initiative, NTI, has been really important to the work we have done in government. In fact, it's a very powerful example of the ways in which those who generate ideas can have a real impact on policy.
An important part of our mission in reducing nuclear dangers was to strengthen the International Atomic Energy Agency.
Nuclear Threat Initiative came were trailblazers because through Warren Buffett, they offered $50 million as a seed money for the IAEA to establish a fuel bank.
The Nuclear Threat Initiative was really able to make a pioneering contribution to the biological threat area by identifying the important connection between health and security, by raising awareness about the nature and scope of the biological threat, both deliberate use of biological agents to do harm, biological weapons and biological terrorism, and naturally occurring biological threats.
So NTI has been a real leader in the field. It has helped connect doctors and public health officials in disease networks around the world, and it's been connecting people who didn't ever talk before.
That is the strength, the power of NTI as a trust base, honest broker among all country, government, and intergovernmental organizations.
NTI led conferences and tabletop exercises to develop opportunities to talk about these issues with the Chinese, and sharing of technical and scientific expertise to allow people who would not normally engage with the Chinese on these important issues.
NTI play an important role. Arms control is an important area, and which is important for Sino-US relations too. And these two great countries should and can contribute.
My guest tonight is a former U.S. Senator. Please welcome Senator Sam Nunn. Please sit down. What is the Nuclear Threat Initiative? Because I'm on board if it means we should take the initiative in making nuclear threats.
No, it doesn't mean that. It means we should do everything we can to reduce nuclear threats.
NTI has taken its public education mission seriously from the beginning. We've done this through our projects, we've done this through our voice, through our communications, through tools like making films.
In my own country, it has brought Democrats and Republican leaders together. Leaders like George Shultz, Bill Perry, Henry Kissinger, and Sam Nunn, who are with us here today.
NTI has been very lucky to be associated with 4 great American leaders that called for the elimination of nuclear weapons and to work together in an urgent way on specific steps toward that vision.
It was like open a window, the fresh air came into this stale thinking which has been dominating discussions about nuclear weapons.
It became okay to say that getting rid of nuclear weapons was actually a strong national security position, that it was about making us safer.
There is now a lot of work being done across the world on nuclear security that wasn't being done only a couple of years ago, simply because NTI helped people to engage with this difficult challenge and suggested to them practical steps and showed them how they could work.
We have to ask ourselves as leaders and citizens is if we did have a terrorist nuclear attack on a city like Washington or Paris or some other great city in the world, what is it we would say we wish we had done? Why don't we try to do it now rather than waiting for the catastrophe?